How do you become a talent buyer for Live Nation? What's going on, y'all? I used to be a talent buyer for Live Nation at House of Blues in New Orleans, Louisiana. One of my favorite jobs I've ever had. And in the podcast, I've talked to some guests from Live Nation, including the COO for Live Nation, Mr. Ben Weeden. And he had many, many great things to say. And through my experience, I've learned many things on what Live Nation looks for in talent buyers. So we're going to talk about a few quick tips on becoming a talent buyer for Live Nation, which include mindset, booking shows, of course, battling the competition, relationships, and I'll just give you a little bit of my background. So let's start off with mindset. So in episode 50 with Ben Weeden, he had a lot of amazing things to say about mindset, right? He talked about how being a talent buyer is a very, very unique position. And if you're doing it at the level of Live Nation, it's basically being on the starting team of, or being the starting lineup of a pro basketball team, football team, right? Whatever your favorite sport is, just think about being in the starting lineup in the pros. You're not in college, you're not in high school or junior leagues. You're literally have worked your way up, gotten the experience, gotten the reps, and now you're ready to go at the highest level, which is Live Nation, and you're on the starting lineup of that team, right? So it's all about grinding it out at the clubs and really understanding how deals work. And I'll throw a couple of links in the description for this video on different types of deals and how these deals work. You have to understand a P&L and how those documents look, right? How spreadsheets look. You have to really understand what split points are, like really, again, understanding the deal. It's really hard to be, and in that same interview, he talked about it's really hard to be an assistant at Live Nation and really grasp the entire business of being a talent buyer, right? Jesse Stoll from AEG Presents, good friend of mine, he talked about how you really just have to have that entrepreneurial spirit and be able to inspire your team, inspire the marketing team, this box office, everybody that works along with you and lifting them up as that entrepreneur go-getter, right? And Jesse also actually believes in having a bonus structure. So if you were to start your own company promoting shows to really bit those reps in to be noticed by Live Nation in the future, create incentives for people that run your box office or your marketing, your admin, right? Whoever works with you, make them feel like they're part of the show and incentivize them with bonuses on sellouts. Like every time a show sells out, boom, here's a little bonus, right? Even if it's $25 per sellout. If you're doing 100 shows a year and you're selling out 50 shows a year and you're giving everybody in your team $25 per show, that is a really, really nice bonus. And the last thing I'll say on mindset, Dan Steinberg, who is the founder and CEO of Emporium Presents, which got bought out by Live Nation, right? He's also the host of the Promoter 101 podcast. He said something really interesting in one of the episodes once that really resonated with me, especially if you're a promoter first starting out. When you lose money on shows, don't look at every loss as a loss. Look at them as investments. You're investing into your company and into your future. So it's about, of course, you want to make money, right, as a promoter, but it's about also making the right investments and the right relationships. So if you're going to lose $500 or $1,000 on a show, but it now gives you a relationship with that artist and that agent, and it's an artist that's on the rise, and next time around you might make $1,000 or $10,000, that's a worthwhile investment, right? So look at every single potential show as an investment opportunity. So it's all about mindset first. Then you got to get those reps in, right? So tip number 2 is getting those reps in and booking a significant amount of shows. Ben Weeden, again, he likes seeing 100 plus shows a year. That's the kind of volume of shows you need to be booking as an independent promoter, right? Or work for a venue. But they really love seeing someone that's willing to risk their own money and go back, battle or go against head-to-head with big promoters, go head-to-head with all the big venues in your town, go head-to-head with the big promoters in your town, and go head-to-head with Live Nation itself, right? But it's all about producing a lot of volume, high volume of shows. 100 plus shows per year is the minimum. That's the minimum threshold. If you're using your own money versus working for a club, even better, because then you have that emotional connection with the money, right? And what a loss really feels like. And of course, those 100 plus shows a year, it's a volume game. You're going to have losses, but it's about having more winners than losers. And at the end of the day, the winners adding up to enough money to where you can grow your business and grow your team, right? That's what Live Nation is looking for. Also, again, I mentioned battling head to head with the competition, right? That'll be tip number 3. They really want to see someone that is going to battle with the local promoters, the local venues, and even with Live Nation if you're in their town. But it's all about how you approach those battles, right? So while you're in the offer stage and you're offering for a show, you compete fiercely. Call the agents up, ask them, what are the other offers in my market? Like, they may dance around that question, they may not answer it directly, but I've heard hundreds of times, if not thousands of times, agents give a very specific number. Sometimes they'll mention the venue or the promoter. They'll say, from this promoter, I got 10 grand. You sent me a $7,500 offer, right? Or they'll say, from this venue, I got 10 grand. You sent me a $7,500 offer. Or if they don't give you the amount, or what venue it is, you ask them, what is the amount that gets me the show, right? Or what is the amount that I need to match to at least be in the conversation for that show? And if they say, you offered $7,500 for a show and he says $10,000 or she says $10,000, then you ask them back, do you have an offer on the table for my market at $10,000? And if that is yes, then I'll match it. But there has to be an offer in the market, right? So just be aggressive about that. And at the end of the day, it's about building relationships with the agent, right? Which is my next tip. But before I go on there to that, and then when you lose the show, let's say you still lose the show, you were aggressive, you tried to get the show, you're aggressive, professionally aggressive, right, in a nice way, and you still don't get the show, then congratulate whoever got the show, right? Tell them, hey, at the end of the day, like, so I'm in Orlando. If I lose the show to House of Blues, but the show still comes to Orlando, it's a win for my market, because the more shows my market gets, the better it looks for that market, for that scene, right? Because the only way you're going to grow a music scene is having shows coming into your city. So at the end of the day, as long as your city still gets the show, it's a win-win. But it's just one less show you have, but there's thousands of shows on tour all the time. And if you're aggressive and professional and you build good relationships with agents, you're going to get the next one, right? You're going to get, even if you're competing with Live Nation or AEG, if you can get 1 out of 10, that is great. If you get 2 out of 10, even better, right? So just be very aggressive, professional, and competitive. And that goes on to the last tip, is about building those positive relationships with agents, right? It goes beyond just an email. Once I discovered Polestar Pro and I got access to all the agencies and agents and labels, I used to email this one agent in particular all the time, because I love the roster this agent had on his company that he owned. And one day he calls my office and the assistant's like, hey, such and such is on the phone, wants to talk to you. And I'm so excited. It's the owner of the agency. I pick up the phone and I say, hey, so-and-so, I'm so excited for you to call. I know I've been emailing you a lot. And he says, yes, Chris, I get a lot of emails from you, and it's really fucking annoying. I know who you are. I know you exist. When I have something for you, I will reach out. Also, keep in mind, Chris, you do not build relationships over email. You build relationships by picking up the phone and having a conversation, right? So very important lesson I learned. So really pick up the phone, have a conversation, but have a conversation beyond just the business. Like, try to get 1 or 2 questions in to learn about the person, learn about their family, learn about what they're into, their hobbies, right? Be genuinely interested in them and who they are as people. And that will help build very, very strong and solid relationships with the agents. And if you're not in New York, LA, Nashville, Colorado, like wherever the agencies are, Chicago, Atlanta, some of them, some are in Miami, right? If you're not in a city where these agents are, travel to those cities. Go meet them, especially if you're already doing business with them. If you're doing business with them, if you've done a couple shows or if you've offered on shows, you have something of value to offer, right? Because they make a commission every time you book a show with them. So if you have something to offer of value, you've booked some shows with them, they've made some commissions off of you, or they might make some commissions off of you in the future, I promise you they'll meet with you. And go at a time when it's not Polestar Live or the Billboard conference, booking and touring conference. Go during a slow period of year, go during the summer, going when there's not peak show season or touring season, and go to New York, go to Nashville, go to LA, right? Go there a couple times a year and try to schedule meetings with them. I gotten so many meetings out of doing that, just going at a random time and saying, hey, I'm going to be in town. Do you have time to meet up? I can come by the office or we can grab some lunch, right? Try to schedule a few meetings per day and just really get to know them and try to hang out, go to shows and where you can see if they have an artist playing in town and go see their artist and go support their artist. That's going to go a really, really long way in building relationships with agents and their artists. And then last thing. So those are my few quick tips, right? Get those, have the right mindset, get those reps in, get 100 plus shows a year, battle the competition fiercely but professionally, and make friends with the competition, build relationships with the agents. And then, the way I got my job at House of Blues New Orleans, I was booking 150 to 200 shows a year for close to, let me see, it was in 2012 I got the job. So for 6 years at that point, I was booking maybe from 6 years for the last 3 years. So 3 years I was booking 150 to 200 shows a year. So it doesn't take much, right? And yes, you want to build a niche where you're like really, really strong in a certain genre. But if you're booking for Live Nation, especially if you're working for one of their venues like House of Blues, you're not going to be able to book the same genre 365 days a year, right? So that's, I actually interviewed for the job 2 years earlier in 2010 and didn't get it, and got it 2 years later when the person that got the job before me left, and it was open again, right? So one of the things I really focused on after our first interview is diversity, is getting beyond the jam band world and the singer-songwriter world. I was booking a lot of artists from New Orleans, which why I feel like New Orleans House of Blues made a lot of sense for me. And I was booking Trombone Shorty, Dr. John, Galactic. All those artists were coming through my venue, whether it's me booking them directly or booking them with partners. But a lot of those shows were coming through the Plaza Live in Orlando. A lot of reggae shows are coming through, right? But I needed to diversify into mainstream rock, into more hip hop shows, into other genres that House of Blues and Live Nation are booking, right? So be really familiar with what they're booking in your area, and start getting into the smaller acts in those genres and build relationships with those agents and those types of artists. So I think that really, really helped me the second time around by really going after what my weaknesses were. And then, just a few years later, when I left Live Nation, I was actually trying to go back in. In 2019, I had an interview with the Florida office and the higher capacity level, right? The 2,000 plus capacity level. And I hadn't booked shows at that level yet. I worked lots of shows at that level as a production manager, but I hadn't really booked a lot of shows. But kind of the same things were happening in that conversation, right? I was one of the final 3 candidates to be considered for the job, to book for their 2,000 plus division in one of the areas of Florida. And the biggest strengths I had going in is my reps, right? Amount of shows I've booked. I mean, at Live Nation, I was booking 250 shows a year. So it was the reps, it was the references within Live Nation, it was references from agents, and I've been in business for a long time, and I really understood the business, and I really understood deals, right? Because I teach deals. So that really helped me stand out. The reason I didn't get the job, one of the very many things I respect about Live Nation, was because one of the people I was going up against was already working within the company, and that person had a similar experience to what I had. They weren't really booking the 2,000 plus cap rooms yet, but they had very similar experience that I had, and they were working for Live Nation already. Currently at that moment, where I had to work for them in the past, but I had left. So that really helped them get the job, because they were already within the company, and they like advocating that they promote from within, right? And showing their company that they promote from within. And that really stood out to me as something I really, really respect, because I've worked for other companies in the past where I was up for a job or interviewing for a job and I didn't get it. And I've lost a job from someone that came from the outside and had even no experience as a talent buyer, and I still didn't get the job. So I really, really respect a company that not only promotes from within, but they want the best talent buyers, right? They're not going to hire someone that doesn't have a lot of experience booking and buying shows and taking risk. Live Nation wants people that are the pros, that are on the starting lineup of their pro team. So anyways, it's a really awesome company. I really enjoyed working for Live Nation. I highly, highly recommend it if you're a promoter or a talent buyer. I guarantee you your learning curve the first 3 months will exponentially explode. When I first started that job, the first 3 months in that seat, I was just blown away. I at the Plaza in Orlando, we done really, really well. We got top 100 venues in the world 2 years in a row through Polestar. So top 100 venues at our capacity and under. We hit that 2 years in a row. We hit Orlando's best music venue in, was it 2011 or something like that? So we've had some really, really amazing accolades, right? So we've accomplished a lot of things. We booked a lot of shows. One of the shows we booked was Childish Gambino, sold out show when he was just coming up, and a lot of wins, a lot of experience. But working for Live Nation, those first 3 months and the access to data that you have, I don't know what, probably not okay to share everything that I've experienced there, but just the access to data, to contacts, to relationships. And it's sad to say, if your email says, your name at livenation.com, you're going to have people answering your email that may have never answered an email before, because that's just how powerful that company is. And I'll have some more videos on Live Nation in the future. Is it a monopoly or not? How to make yourself memorable as a town buyer and build stronger relationships. That's a topic I'm looking to tackle. But if there's anything that you want me to address, any videos you want me to create quick tips around, leave a comment and on the video, leave questions in the comments. I'll be happy to go in there, engage with y'all, answer some questions. Please subscribe to the channel, hit that bell. And until next time, go see shows, meet people, make stuff. Peace, my friends.
Live the life you love.